Okay, so today we will learn how to find an equation of a quadratic function, or a quadratic graph, well, from a graph. Here we have a graph, and we have 4 points plotted, two x-intercepts, the y-intercept, and the vertex. We have, for the x-intercepts, -4, 0, and 6, 0. The y-intercept 0, -48, and the vertex 1, 50. Okay, so we also know that in standard form the equation looks like this. And in factored form, it looks something like this. Here and here could go any number, or we can also have a variable, a number in front of the variable x in any of these. From the previous lesson, we also learned that to find the x-intercepts, for example, if we plug in 4 here, and if we do f of 4, we might get any number here. For example, let's say we get 8 here, but we get 0 here. We know that if we multiply these two together, it will give us 0. So therefore, as an example, f of 4 would equal 0. Meaning that 4, 0 is next intercept. That was just an example. It wasn't really related to this. I was just saying it because this is what we will do later on right now. We also recall from the previous lesson that the c value in a standard form equation is basically the same thing as the y value of the y-intercept. So we already know one part of this equation, which is -48. So in the previous lesson, we also learned that in a factored form equation, as I mentioned just right now, right here, that if we have these values here, let's now start to use these the x values for our x-intercepts. What if we put +4 here? Right? If we put -4 into this small part, it will already equal 0. And what if we put x minus 6? If we put in 6 in here, it will equal 0. But what if we put 6 here and 6 here? It will give us 10 times 0. But f of 6 equals 10 times 0 is just 0. And f of -4 is just 0 times -10, which is 0. So we have already a function for our two x-intercepts. This function works only if these are the only 2 points so far we know. But what if we plug in 0? We will not get -48. If we plug in 1 in this function right here, or 0, we will not get, for 1, -50. So this is not a function. If we plug in 0, though, we will get -24. And how do we get from -24 to -48? We multiply by 2. So I basically just rewrote the previous function we had, f of x equals x plus 4 times x minus 6, into the little square thing we did on the previous class, or the previous lesson. So we did it that if we put 0 in this function, we would get -24, and we would get -24 if we multiplied 4 times -6. And as I said before, we get from negative 24 to negative 48 by multiplying by 2. So what if we multiplied this section here by 2? Or what if we multiplied this section here by 2? Okay, so we have here 2 times x plus 4 times x minus 6. When we do this, it will equal to 2x plus 8. And we do this down here, equals 2x minus 12. And now this looks a lot more better and closer to what we are trying to solve in this graph here. So what do we do? Okay, so what is 8 times negative 6? It is negative 48. What is negative 12 times 4? Negative 48. This is our y value. And we also know that this y value here and here is the constant. And when we do this whole thing, we complete the square here, 2x squared, 8x, negative 12x, and 2x squared, negative 12x, and 8x. If we do this and we write it out in standard form, we will see that the negative 48 here and here is the constant of the function. So now if we take all of this and add it all up, we will see that we get this function. And what do we do with this function? Well, we plug in all the numbers we know, like the x values we know, like negative 4, 6, 0, and 1, and see if they give us the corresponding y values, 0, 0, negative 48, and negative 50. Okay, so we have our function we found. And now we're trying to see if it is correct. If we plug in 0, we get negative 48. And if we plug in 1, we get 50. 0, we're just trying to solve. And 1, we're also trying to solve. So 0 squared is just 0 times 2 minus 0 times 4 is 0 and minus 48. So 2 times 0 is 0 minus 48 is negative 48. So f of 0 is negative 48. And it is correct. 0 equals, if you plug in 0, it equals negative 48. What about 1? What is 1 squared? Well, it is 1. 1 times 2 minus, what is 4 times 1? 4, and minus 48. 2. This equals 2. Minus 4. Minus 48 is negative 50. And it is correct. If you do all the math, it will turn out correct. And that is how you find an equation of a quadratic from a graph. Thank you.